Welcome to the Northwest Bruin Football Show. I'm the head coach, Josh Robinson. This past Friday, we traveled to Southeast Whitfield High School and came out on top with a 49-7 victory. We raced out to a 36-0 halftime lead, and were able to get all of our young men in. Had some individuals perform really well. It's typical anytime there is a win. Owen Brooker was 15 for 24 with 144 yards. 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion. He also was on the receiving end of a 22-yard reception from Matthew Redmond, who was 1 for 1 on the night. Overall, those two young men played really well. We made the decision to get them out fairly quickly. Matthew in the middle of the second quarter and Owen early in the third. Braden Morrison came on at quarterback for us and did an admirable job, going 1 for 4 with a 22-yard touchdown on a very good catch by Draylon Morris. Rushing on the night, Gavin Ellis only had 10 carries, but he did get 53 yards and 2 touchdowns with a long of 20 yards, and Bryce Mantooth had 5 carries for 21 yards and a long of 8. So overall on the night, our two main varsity running backs had a solid night, considering our defense gave them a short field. We were also able to play our other young guys, Adrian Reyes, who's done some really good things in practice and really earned time with the first team as we went. Nothing that the other guys have not done, but everything that Adrian has done. Had 4 rushes for 9 yards and 1 touchdown on the night. Dominique Smith, a freshman for us, had 3 carries for 36 yards. Dakota Hickman, one of our D linemen, came on and had 1 carry for 3 yards. Braden Morrison had 2 carries for 3 yards, and then we mentioned Owen's 22 yards earlier. He ended up taking a couple of sacks and overall ended up with 84 yards, but had a 79-yard touchdown run in the third quarter. Callan Neely, our senior receiver, had 2 catches for 27 yards. His brother Preston had 2 catches for 10 yards. Very solid night out of those young men. All of our receivers have to block better on the perimeter. We did not as good a job as we would like, but we definitely want to progress with that and work on it in the coming weeks, because we're going to need it as we finish the regular season and go into the playoffs. Matthew Redmond had the pass earlier we discussed. He had also had 4 receptions for 38 yards and had a 2-point conversion. Really good night by Matthew. I mentioned earlier, we made the decision once we got up 29-0, we took him out of everything, special teams, the whole idea of him playing was gone, because he's too valuable to our team and wanted to get him out, preserve his health. Adrian Reyes had 3 catches. We mentioned his rushing yards earlier. He had 3 catches for 16 yards and a receiving touchdown, just doing a good job for us. Kooper Pardee had 1 catch for 8 yards. Bryce Mantooth had 1 catch for 14 yards. Ethan Inslee had 1 catch for 5 yards and a touchdown, which is good to have Ethan back, because he is suffered through a back injury from about the Temple game. He hasn't played until last week, but made a good solid comeback for us. Noah Newman had a catch for 7 yards. We tried to get him a touchdown. Ended up getting hurt on the play, unfortunately, for him. Hopefully we'll have him back this coming week. Ray Morrison had 1 catch for 2 yards, and Braden Morrison had 2 catches for 17 yards. So overall, we kind of went through the stats really quick, and we would talk more about these individuals, but we have a lot of highlights, a lot of stats to talk about, and that usually happens in a game when we're up 49-7. A really good night by our offensive guys, and a good job by Coach Fisher and his staff to continue on and grow. At this time, let's take a look at the first half highlights. We won the toss and elected to defer to the second half, and here Israel Flores does a great job of kicking the ball the way we want. Jacob Sanders saves it. Jax Brooker comes up with the fumble. Here our O-line does an outstanding job of blocking Cowart and Brooker and those guys on the right side. Here you can see the pass breakup by Dakota Hickman. Had a really good week of practice, and we really anticipated him playing well. Here are our inside linebackers and Zach Coslow in on the tackles. There, Hickman's doing an outstanding job spinning out of a slant, coming back, and really creating pressure to make that ball float. They get a punt off here, and our guys do a good job, and we give our offense field position right around the 50-yard line on the night. Owen Brooker with a very good throw and catch to Callan Neely. Good protection by our offensive line. Come back here, we're running the trap. Good job by Jeb Brooker, who had to play some guard for us because Kason Kittle was injured. Hope to get him back this week. Here we have a throwback pass to Owen, and he does a good job of getting down the sidelines. Got to make that block right there by Kiker, but still a really good job for him getting out there. Ended up resulting in more yardage. Good job by Gavin Ellis reading the pile and cutting it back to the open area to put us up 6-0. Our extra point was no good. They're running the outside zone, and with a very talented player, our guys end up making a tackle there. You can see Jeb Brooker starting to get a pressure. Outstanding job by Bailey McQuaig getting out there on it. They have a little trouble with the snap and get their punt blocked by Dakota Hickman right there, who again had such an outstanding week. We were not surprised that he was very productive for us. Here we throw the quick screen, and we've got Preston Neely. Good job blocking by Matthew Redmond, and we mentioned earlier at times our blocking was outstanding, but here's Adrian Reyes with his first varsity touchdown receiving here in the end zone, and then we run a 2-point conversion that Owen completes to Matthew Redmond to put us up 14-0. We're back on pace with regular touchdown scoring. Here, Keith McQuaig does a good job of coming down. We've got to fight off the block a little better out there. They fake the jet sweep. Jake Fawcett does an outstanding job of applying pressure. Hayden Pack is in perfect position. Maybe like for him to be a little bit over top, but we get a big return here, and our guys are blocking and finding people down the field to try and lead him to a touchdown. We give our offense good field position again. Owen Brooker with another good pass, but really an outstanding catch by Matthew Redmond. Is very, very consistent for us. Here, Kooper Pardee with a 7-yard catch for us on a good throw on the fast screen. Really want to use him in the coming weeks. Dayton Cowart's got to continue up the field, but a great job of executing the trap. Good bend right here by Gavin Ellis, finding the open lane. Really a better job as the year has gone on by him. I believe here was a high snap. This was not planned. I would like to take credit for it, but it was Matthew Redmond, being a football player, on a high snap. He couldn't get it down, so he ended up rushing it in for a 2-point conversion. Here is Bailey McQuaig in there, Logan Akins. Those guys converge, and we end the first quarter up 22-0. Short pass. We've got to get under that throw a little bit better, but at the same time, they floated a little bit, and Hayden Pack ends up with another interception. Here, Bryce Mantooth came back after an earlier fumble and picks up some good yardage and follows it up with a good catch to get us very close to the first down marker. Really need to find a way to get it, but we ended up getting it anyway, and here's an awesome play for us as Ethan Inslee comes back off a back injury and contributes with a touchdown for us. The hold and kick by Israel Flores, the hold by Matthew Redmond there to put us up 29-0. Running the reverse, and Chase Humble really gets back there and causes trouble, and the ball's bouncing around, and we had our guys in position for the reverse, but we didn't have middle penetrations. They were double teaming, but regardless, the play was no good. He escapes pressure. We've got to do a better job of getting a hold of him here, but we force him into a bad throw, and then Colby Ramsey with a punt block, and oh my goodness, we've got to scoop this up and score it. I think the entire defense was a little upset there, but Adam Long with the recovery. Really good job blocking. There's Noah Newman getting the ball inside the 10-yard line for us. We ended up trying to throw him a pass. He got hit a little early and ended up with a concussion, but Matthew Redmond with an interception that he returns for a touchdown that was called back. So for a block in the back, kind of a weak one, but Matthew on the reception, running the spot route, does a good job of getting across the field and getting yardage for us. Running the zone again, we've got Jacob Harden in for us, who is contributing on the O-line the whole year. Reade, Chadwick, Kiker, we mentioned Cowart and Jeb Brooker earlier, and Damon Banta have all done an outstanding job. Really good run by Adrian Reyes, and the extra points added again by Israel Flores. We come back on defense here. Good blitz by Jake Fawcett. Really makes the running back cut where he didn't want to, and we have a host of Bruins. Good job by Chase Humble holding on, and Zach Coslow there in case he escaped for us. And sprint out, Jake Fawcett again. We had a defensive end, might have been Dakota or Chase Humble there to apply pressure. Hope the young man for Southeast that got hurt on that play is okay. We get a punt off and give our offense the ball once again within the 40-yard line. Here, a sprint out by Owen throws the ball, a very good completion to Braden Morrison, good check down route. We come back with play action and complete the pass to Braden Morrison once again. Good connection, good future connection for us there with those two guys both being underclassmen. We got to do a better job protecting up the field, but here we really need to get out of bounds. Kind of shows Adrian's youth. He didn't get out of bounds, and we had to use a timeout. Ultimately ended up missing a field goal, but we go in at halftime leading 36-0.
Reade Chadwick, number 56, and I play left tackle. Mostly rap and country. I normally go in the weight room and sleep because I turn all the lights off and just listen to music. Honestly, just the Southeast game last year. It was just a great atmosphere, and I feel like we had a great time that game, and we all played really good. I'm watching YouTube all the time. Probably Los Angeles, because just, I don't know, just to see how it is. We were at Jeb Brooker's house. A lot of us were there, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and Bryce Mantooth and a few other guys took a lot of the other people's cars there took them to Food Line at like 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. Very fun. I think I'm kind of funny, like to have fun. I'm always hanging out with friends and love my family. Probably the Dalton game. Just the score was terrible. I was scared of the dark till like 5th, 6th grade. I like to thank my teammates, my mom, my dad. They're always there just to talk about the game. After Fridays, we talk for like an hour or 2 hours after the game. My grandparents, my aunt, they're always there after the games, give me hugs, and my coaches. Reade Chadwick, number 56, and I play left tackle.
Kason Kittle, 54, left guard. Kind of a little bit of everything. I don't really like a specific music genre more than another. I usually just kind of split away from everybody, try to get focused. Probably my sophomore year when I got to go in at guard because Brett got hurt. Probably my car, because it's a Ford Fusion and it's really loud. Probably Hawaii, because it's just so scenic and there's a lot of great stuff down there. I've actually never gotten pranked. We were at Jeb's, and me and Sandy took everybody's cars and took them to Food Line, and the next morning they woke up and they were freaking out. Probably last year against Pickens, because I fell like 8 times. I wet the bed until I was about 10. My mom, Coach Rob, my dad, Coach Hall, just everybody who's got me here to this point, my whole family. Kason Kittle, 54, left guard.
Garrett Threadgill, number 42, wide receiver. Mostly listen to rap music. Mostly. I like to be by myself and focus on what I need to do before the game. So. Probably getting a catch against my first varsity catch against Lafayette. They mostly call me Garrett a lot, so it's pretty funny. I would say Hawaii because, beach, it's always sunny there, so. Probably, I was putting at running back one time, and my first carry I fumbled the ball, and that was pretty embarrassing. I had a little blanket that I always had with me at all times, so it was usually keep me okay. I want to thank my parents and my brother and my sister for being there for me, and I want to thank the coaching staff as well. So. Garrett Threadgill, number 42, wide receiver.
Welcome back to the Northwest Bruin Football Show. Our defense had a good night as well. Our guys were a little frustrated. They had a whole week of practice and only got to play in the 20 to 25 play range for our first team guys, but I've stated before, I'm not about running the score up on people or trying to get some goal that may look good for a coach as far as shutouts, that kind of thing. We're going to rotate and we're going to get our guys some experience, and that sometimes leads to frustration by our first team guys, and I understand that, but at the same time we got to preserve them, especially at this point in the year with the big games coming up. Our D-line had an exceptional game. Zach Coslow had 4 tackles, a tackle for a loss, and a quarterback pressure. Dakota Hickman only had 1 tackle on the night, but had a pass breakup, batted a ball. He blocked a punt and had 3 more quarterback pressures. Chase Humble had 2 tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for a loss, and a quarterback pressure. Jeb Brooker had quarterback pressure. Adam Long had a tackle and a fumble recovery. All those guys are our main varsity guys that are our first team guys that are in the rotation. Probably, I think the most plays any of them played were 22. So we were able to get more guys in. Jonathan Caribou had a quarterback pressure. De La Paz played a lot of plays for us. Will Roper had a tackle. Javin Nicholson was in on a tackle. Ethan Rittenhouse and Micah Mohan had a tackle each. Connor Hayes was involved in a tackle. We had moved him recently there, so we were glad to see the opportunity to get him in. Jordan McCamish was sick all week, came back and was able to practice at the very end of the week. Still had 7 tackles. A tackle for a loss and a pressure, so a solid night by him. Bailey McQuaig back in partial time action with 3 tackles. Logan Akins had 3 tackles as well. Jake Fawcett, we rotated him and Bailey because we never know with injuries what was going to happen. We tried to preserve them both and at the same time get them both reps. Jake had 2 tackles and a pressure. Colby Ramsey had 3 tackles, quarterback pressure, a fumble recovery, and a block punt. Damon Banta had a tackle, and those guys are our main varsity guys that played a significant amount of reps. And I'm going to talk a minute about the next guy. He had really improved as much this season as anybody, as Junior Tucker Johnson. He came in and had 4 tackles and 2 tackles for a loss, a sack, and a pressure, so really productive. And unfortunately, he broke his arm on Friday. We definitely are going to miss him on special teams and his rotational time that he was starting to get on defense. We wish him a speedy recovery. Bryson Cox had a tackle. Really glad for him being a senior to get in there and contribute. Jaden Santiago had 3 tackles, a tackle for a loss, and a sack. guy that we're looking forward to contributing in the future. Jax Brooker had 3 tackles, a tackle for a loss, a sack, and 2 fumble recoveries. Jace Talley had a tackle. Malik Drenick had a tackle. A couple of additional linebackers for us that got in were Trevor Martin and Hayden Maynard. Both played really well for us. DB-wise, Hayden Pack had 2 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 2 pass breakups. Very good night by him. Jacob Sanders had 2 tackles. Keaton McQuaig 2 tackles, and Matthew Redmond had a pass breakup and an interception. And then Kooper Pardee added a tackle, as well as Ryan Baker with 2, Braden Morrison with 1, Micah Fuller with 3, and Jacob Fowler with 1 tackle. So we got a lot of guys in, a lot of guys to talk about. Hopefully we get to see a lot of them in the highlights. At this time, let's take a look at the second half highlights. Start the second half, we received the kick, and we're trying to throw the bubble, and we moved people around, and I think one of them didn't read the wristband correctly, but Owen Brooker breaks free on a second down play and rushes. I believe it ended up being 79 yards. Really an important part to our football team is his improvement in the running game. He's got to continue to play with confidence in that area because he's certainly capable. We add on the extra point, 43-0. We let our defensive starters play one more series, and our guys are still flying around the ball, again, kind of hungry because they didn't get to play in the first half, I believe, 18 plays. Here, a very good tackle by Jordan McCamish. Does a good job of keeping leverage and keeping that tackle. Again, you know, he played 22 plays and ended up with 7 tackles. Damon Bantan on the tackle does a good job breaking his feet down, but a secondary player helped him. Here, a low snap, and the punter ends up putting his foot on the ground or knee on the ground, so we get the ball deep. Here's Dakota Hickman, one of our D linemen, who's really one of our best athletes on the team. We give him a chance to carry the ball. He makes something out of nothing, ends up gaining 3 yards there on the carry. Awesome job by Tucker Johnson, who we mentioned earlier about how he's contributing and getting so much better. Good job by Bryson Cox, one of our seniors who's contributed on special teams all year, getting to play. Unfortunately, right after that's when Tucker got hurt. There's our guys, our young guys in. We've got to tackle better. We're missing tackles, but kind of would be expected here. Tucker, after the ball, it's kicked around, and Jax Brooker ends up with the tackle. Our guys kind of flying around. That's what you like to see when you put the young guys in and get them some experience for them to go in and contribute immediately. Another great tackle by Tucker as he comes in, and we end the third quarter 43-7. Here they are running the zone. That's Jax Brooker and Jaden Santiago in on it. We're wholesale changing. We've got several freshmen in. Jace Talley's in right now. Jax Brooker's in right now. We're playing a lot of sophomores as well. Good pressure by, I believe, Jonathan Caribou. He sneaks through. Pretty good coverage by Mr. Fowler there. They end up having a low snap on the punt again. We really should have pressured it, but they end up getting a favorable roll. Our young guys have to get away from the ball. Come back on offense with Braden here, and then we've got Dominique, who we're really excited about going forward, who is a good player for us, a running back and a DB who we anticipate contributing sooner rather than later, making a long run. We go up 49-7 on a pass completion from Braden to Draylon Morris, who makes a great catch on a high ball and gets in the end zone. Here we have, again, our guys are out there. We got to get ready to play, just a little bit slow, kind of getting held. Got to break our feet down and tackle. But you can see our young guys kind of carry on what our varsity does and fly around the football. At the end of the game, we end up with Northwest 49, Southeast 7.
Kooper Pardee, 23, cornerback and receiver. Anything. Let's listen to music. Probably interception against Ridgeland at the goal line. Basketball. Colorado, maybe. I've been there once. It's fun though. Go back. But every kickoff, I'll get close to scoring on his fall. I was scared of the dark for a while. Yeah. My parents, my brother, and family, friends. Yeah. Kooper, Pardee, 23, cornerback and receiver.
I'm Ethan Rittenhouse, 67, D-line. I listen to country, rap. I like Post Malone. I usually just sleep or just lay down. Probably my 10th grade year when I got my first sack against Dalton. They like to call me Baby Seal. I don't know why, they just do. Oh, that's hard. I would like to probably go to Puerto Rico. I don't know why, just sounds interesting. My sophomore year, Austin Klein poured Kool-Aid in my book bag, and I didn't know, and it got drenched in Kool-Aid. I put shampoo in his book bag. Probably my sophomore year too. I got pancaked or double teamed, and I got like thrown like way back, like 10 yards. I still have this big monkey from like I was like 5. Like it's still in my room. I like to thank my parents, my 2 sisters, Kylie and Haven, and my grandparents. I'm Ethan Rittenhouse, 67, D-line.
Welcome back to the Northwest Bruin Football Show. I'm Josh Robinson. This coming week we have a huge game. It's the first time in a very long time that this has been a possibility. Northwest has a chance to win the region championship if they win the game on Friday. We're certainly hoping to go out and accomplish that against the Heritage Generals. It will not be an easy game. We've traditionally had very close and very competitive games with them, and I would expect nothing but the same in this situation. If we win, we're the #1 seed in the playoffs and host for at least 3 rounds. If we lose, then we go all the way down to the 4th seed, and we would have to travel throughout the playoffs. So it's a really big game, but a great opportunity that our young men have put themselves in a chance to achieve something. I'm so thankful that they came back and had a really successful year, but we've got one more game to finish the drill. We hope to see you at the stadium this week. Until next week, I'm Josh Robinson.